Hey viewers and viewers, my name is General Red Strategist and welcome back to Survey Being Hunted, episode 667 now. So, we're having another podcast style episode. I've just moved to another island on my current map because obviously on the centre island there's a bit of a problem with one of the device pieces, it having spawned in an awkward location. This is a weird sort of generation here though, with all these rocks out in the water, which is curious. Because it's quite shallow here by the looks of it. You could probably sort of wander through it. I wonder if I must have set the biome generation here for it to be sort of fairly, I don't know, kind of covered in lakes. Oh look, the jetty literally just ends over here. Yeah, okay. I imagine the sea beast probably can't, hit us here because it's too shallow and all that. So I'm just going to run over here, ladies and gentlemen. Whoa. Oh yes, did you pop up because you heard me speak your name? Sea beast, bog monster, whatever you're called. What's the thing? As time's gone on, I've always just called that thing the sea beast, but I think it technically has two names, doesn't it? It's the sea beast or it's the bog monster. At least that's how often it used to be referred to years and years ago when this game was still very much a new thing and people, still, well, a lot of people were still playing it. But that's not what we're really wanting to talk about in this episode. I was actually just thinking about having a little podcast episode because of the fact that there's some notable stuff going on here on the General Red Strategist channel at the moment in terms of new playthroughs, things that are happening, other series, stuff like that. And you know me, sometimes every once in a while I like to just have a sort of chill, sedate podcast episode where I talk about things that are going on my channel outside of Survey Being Hunted that you might be interested in, ladies and gentlemen, if you're not already watching them and all that. But basically, the news that some of you probably will have seen is that RTCW has come back to the channel again for a period, for a spell. Because, of course, the Saboteur have finally finished it after something like 4 bloody years after starting it way back as just an occasional bonus series. I have finally finished that game. Another game that I just sort of had as an occasional thing on the channel. I eventually, managed to come back to it and actually sort it, do it, get it complete. There are other games, of course, that, I've started at various times on my channel, which I do technically need to complete. Sherlock Holmes and the Secret of the Silver Earring comes to mind and all that. Need to get back to that at some point. But yes, with Saboteur out the way, Real RTCW is now back on the channel, because the thing is that mod was updated to Real RTCW 5 recently, and apparently adds a load of new content to the game. And as well as that, the developer of it, Wolf ET Player, was kind enough to send me a Steam key for the Agency Weapons Pack DLC that he and the other devs of our Real RTCW had put together. So I got, my hands on a free DLC as part of that. So you're going to be seeing a playthrough of the default campaign with, all the new features, and of course the Agency Weapons DLC actually as part of it, which is great. So there's a load of new content going on over there, and it feels real good as usual, being back with Real RTCW for a bit, because RTCW had a bit of a hiatus, because I played, obviously, Commandos Behind Enemy Lines, way back, and then I think straight after that I did Sniper Elite V2 Remastered, didn't I? And then of course once I had finished Sniper Elite V2 Remastered, I then turned the Saboteur into a main series and finished that game. So yeah, it has had quite a bit of a hiatus, hasn't it, as RTCW. But yeah, I'll play obviously Real RTCW 5, the default campaign for that. I may then take a look at the Wolfenstein Enemy Territory single player custom add-on again, because it's possible that Real RTCW 5 might have added some stuff onto there as well. I'd have to check though. But also there might be other random custom maps that are now available for download, which people have produced between obviously the time I started Commandos Behind Enemy Lines and today, because I think I've been made aware of at least one such instance. So I'll play that, and yeah, so here's to another period of some glorious RTCW content on the channel, until of course I eventually get to a point where once again I'm up to date with it all, and then I'll probably play something else, because I do need to play Commandos Beyond the Call of Duty at some point. That's a game which would be worth me playing, the follow-up to and standalone expansion to Behind Enemy Lines. No doubt I can have another round of me stumbling along through these top-down stealth games, slowly racking my brains and torturing myself mentally as I try and figure out how to beat some of the crazy shit that the Commandos games actually throw at you in terms of difficult situations and all that. You guys are going to be a bit of a problem because you're going to fucking see me, aren't you? That is a problem. I don't have any more bottles. That's an issue. Maybe I should be using clocks. If I back off, actually. Oh. Nope. Shit. Alright. Oh, fuck. I'm stuck in a tree. Crap. Alright, well, I'm drawing them out then. Yes, bitches. Do your worst. Okay, they said lost the blagger. Blighter, even. If I just throw that down there, they'll eventually come around. Hang out near that, and then I go over this way. Then I loop around. Ah, see? They've lost track of me. That's good. He's already heading back in there. But the friggin', I nearly said the phone. The alarm should go off before he gets back into the thicket and all that. Right? Oh, I hear that fucking hound. I can hear the tick-tocking in the background. There it is. Right, they're going to head off in that direction. Good. Right, but getting back to my topic of conversation, since I got so distracted then by all of that. So yes, RTCW back on the channel. But in other gaming news, might as well mention, obviously, my other main series that I'm playing on the channel at the moment. Some of you might already have started watching it, because as of when this video goes out, I think probably about first 2 episodes of this should have gone out by now, but Still Wakes the Deep, ladies and gentlemen. A recently released horror game set on a oil rig off the coast of Scotland in the 1970s, and so far I am really enjoying it. It's really, really good. The game looks amazing, and that's even on the lowest graphical settings, which I've kind of got it set to, just to kind of, try to preserve a bit of the frame rate. But it's really creepy. The characters are really stand out. The sound and visual design is really awesome, and it gives me real Alien Isolation vibes. So yeah, if you're not watching that series, it might well be worth a watch, ladies and gentlemen. Go and check it out. It's very enjoyable from what I've seen of it so far, and I'm really looking forward to playing more of it. And I've talked before about maritime and nautical settings in video games, particularly horror games, and how I like the idea of them. So far, Still Wakes the Deep has been really sort of ticking the right boxes for me, and I've been really enjoying it. So hopefully it can keep that up, that level of enjoyment that I'm getting right now. But as I take a sip of water, I would like to also talk about another game that I've become aware of recently. Not one that I've played, but one that technically isn't recent. It's actually been out since 2018, but I've literally only just learned of its existence fairly recently, which I'm a little surprised by. But having said that, actually no, I lie. I'm not really actually surprised I haven't heard about it at all, because come to think of it, I think that probably the reason I hadn't heard of it until recently was because for a while it was only kind of like a niche game, but it's only really probably recent times that it has started to attract more sort of mainstream attention. The game, ladies and gentlemen, has a name which some of you will probably recognise the moment I say it, and you'll probably be like, oh, that game, ladies and gentlemen. I know exactly what you're talking about, Red. That's how some of you no doubt will react. The name of the game, ladies and gentlemen, is an RPG Maker title called Fear and Hunger. Now, yes, some of you probably will be familiar with the name of that game. Some of you will probably have watched videos of it on YouTube. Some of you may well have tried playing it for yourself. And if you don't know what Fear and Hunger is, basically, you probably all know what RPG Maker is, right? The game-making software, which is good for sort of making top-down, very traditional sort of RPGs, where you explore a map, you have traditional sort of very RPG-esque fights, you put together like a party of characters, you go on an adventure, things like that. Fear and Hunger is an RPG Maker game that came out in 2018. I think it was by a Finnish dev, and it has, let's just say it has a reputation for being very creepy, very dark, and very disturbing with some of the things that can actually happen in it. Basically, it basically touches on some subject matter that's pretty heavy. So it's violent and gory, but it also touches on things like sexual assault and stuff like that. Which, yeah, that's one of the many reasons why it has quite the reputation. The other reason why it apparently has quite the reputation is because it is punishing. It is a cruel game. It is really hard, from what I've heard. Basically, it's the sort of game where as soon as you go into it, you will immediately feel like the game is heavily weighted against you, and you'll think, my god, the difficulty level here, even on the easiest setting, is really nasty. But apparently it's meant to be one of those games which is supposed to be kind of counterintuitive, deliberately, in terms of, with most RPGs, you know, I think your sort of thought as a player is that you can just sort of steamroll in there and just instantly, you know, as soon as you're in the game, you think, oh, you know, these initial enemies aren't going to be that tough, right? Because I'm only a low level and all that. But no, as soon as you get into that game, apparently the enemies are really nasty. And so the whole idea that you're supposed to learn from it is that sometimes there are more tactical approaches, and the game, I think, tries to sort of encourage you to do that. But basically, I discovered Fear and Hunger. I haven't played it, I haven't even got it, but I discovered it from watching random videos on YouTube. So basically, I found a channel called Super Eye Patch Wolf. Some of you may have heard of it. And I was watching a video that he did. It was kind of like a long-form essay video that was all about liminal space horror. Because you know me, I enjoy, you know, games like Backrooms games and liminal space horror games, The Complex, things like that. And so I came across that video and I thought, oh, looks like an interesting video. And it is an interesting video. It's well worth a watch if you're into, you know, liminal space stuff, that kind of thing. But when I watched, obviously, that video, I got a few recommendations, other bits of content from Super Eye Patch Wolf's channel. And one of them was a video all about Fear and Hunger. And I watched a bit of it. I watched random snippets of it. But eventually I kind of reached a point where I stopped watching because I thought, this game looks so weird and creepy and disturbing. I actually, part of me would actually be interested in finding out more for myself. And since then, I've been sort of torn because I searched for it on Steam and at first I couldn't find it, but then I realised that's because obviously my Steam preferences, I've kind of got them set so that certain adult-only content doesn't show up. But eventually I managed to find it because when I typed its name into the search bar, although it didn't initially appear, I did see a little link that came up saying this game technically is not being shown to you because of your sort of content settings, what you want Steam to show you. So if you want to actually see the game, click here. So I clicked on the link that it provided and it took me to the game's Steam store page. And so apparently, you know, as and when I record this, it's going on offer. It's only about £5 or something, and normally I think it retails at about £7. So I've been sort of torn. I've been having a bit of mental struggle, thinking to myself, shall I buy it and actually give it a whirl on the channel? Because on the one hand, it sounds like the exact sort of creepy, sort of horror vibe game that I would be interested in playing, because, you know, I've done loads of horror content before on my channel. You know, fucking I'm doing Still Wakes the Deep at the moment, ladies and gentlemen. I just mentioned a moment ago. But at the same time, you know, I'm looking at it, I'm thinking, this game looks like it has such a unique vibe. I would really want to play it. Part of me really does want to play it, rather. But at the same time, I'm having these other thoughts in terms of, it sounds like the sort of game that's so punishing. And some of you probably are sort of shaking your heads listening to this and you're thinking, oh Red, you sweet summer child. You probably have no idea what you'd be getting yourself in for. Oh no, trust me, I've heard more than enough about Fear and Hunger to know exactly what I'm getting into, or what I would be getting into, rather, if I was to pick it up. I would potentially be getting into a game that would swallow up a chunk of my life. that would drive me freaking insane with its difficulty. Because basically, the way Fear and Hunger apparently plays out is that you start a run, you survive for about 10 minutes, something kills you, and then you get sent right back to the beginning, because apparently the game has a save system that is quite sparse, so you can only save at rare occasions, and so it is not unheard of. In fact, it's quite common apparently in Fear and Hunger playthroughs to find yourself in a situation where you might be like an hour into it, and because you only have like limited save options, you've managed to sort of advance through the dungeon that is the game setting, and you encounter a crazy fucking enemy who wins in like a coin flip toss battle, and you immediately die because he gets like a one-shot kill on you. Because that's apparently a thing that can happen in that game. Some of your fights literally come down to like coin flip tosses. So literally it comes down to luck and chance. So, yeah. I do have an idea of what I'd be getting myself in for. But at the same time, apparently it's a game that has loads of layers to it. And it's a fascinating game. Even if it is brutally punishing. And like I say, there is a part of me that is really interested in picking it up. The only other thing though that kind of holds me back a bit from actually buying it at the moment is just the sort of the thought that there's probably a lot of content in it that I would have to censor, because like I mentioned a moment ago, apparently it has a lot of quite sort of adult content in it, and I think I don't know, is there? I feel like I've heard that there might be a censorship option in game, or if you click it from the options menu, it possibly censors things for you. But then again, I've heard other sources say you actually have to mod that in, but I'm not sure. But that's another possible thing that at the moment is just sort of holding me back a little bit in terms of whether I should buy it or not. Because if I was to play it and I was to, you know, potentially record that with the view of uploading it here on the channel, there is a possibility I'd have to do a lot of censorship work. Because basically, let's just say there are certain enemies, apparently, in that game who, let me just say, some of their attacks and some of the things they can potentially do to characters in your party is, how should we say, violent in a very disturbing way, to put it like that. Disturbingly violent in a kind of adult way, shall we say. So, you know, you can probably get what I'm sort of hinting at there. Hence why I mentioned earlier that apparently the game has a reputation for very sort of dark, grisly, quite disturbing content at times. So, yes. Part of me's part of me's sort of enthralled by the idea of maybe buying it, playing it, and recording that. But at the same time, I've just got that sort of that other voice that's saying, oh god, would I have to do so much censor work? Would it be suitable for YouTube and all that? Because people who have played it and have properly sat down and tried to beat it do say that it is one of those games that is brutal and nasty and will break your mind, but it is totally worth doing it because of the vibes of it and the triumph you will feel when you beat it. But at the same time, it's just the fact that it's so brutal, and I can see myself regretting playing it, you know, getting about, you know, so far into it, suddenly losing a run because I've just been insta-killed by a fucking enemy that I miscalculated, and as a result being sent back and having to do everything again and just thinking, oh god, what the heck? Why do I have to do this and all that? But fuck it. Like I say, at the moment I record this, it is technically on offer on Steam. So, and it is going cheap, from what I remember. Fuck it, I may well buy it. Even if I don't play it, I might well buy it, just so it's in my Steam library. Let me know in the comments, ladies and gentlemen. General Red Fear and Hunger series. I can't guarantee I would necessarily do kind of like 100% completion playthrough, because apparently it's a game that has numerous endings, so I can't guarantee I'd necessarily do all those endings, but I could do maybe a series that just looks at it. Maybe just play through, you know, a chunk of it, perhaps. That's a possibility, you know? So let me know in the comments if you have thoughts on that, ladies and gentlemen. Feel free to tell me. Alright, looking at time, I think we'll probably look to wrap up this recording fairly soon, ladies and gentlemen. Just as soon as we get back to the jetty, that is. Should be over here. See the birds chilling out on the surface of that shallow water. Oh, should not get too close to the robots either. How's it going, guys? Alright, yes. So, let me know your thoughts down in the comments, ladies and gentlemen. If you're not doing so already, get watching my Still Awaits the Deep playthrough. It's very interesting so far. Well worth a watch and all that. So yeah, as we come up towards where the jetty is, because I think we're very close to it now, maybe. Are we? Are we close to it? Yeah. Well, probably not that far away from it, are we, ladies and gents? As soon as I see it actually coming to view in the distance. Sorry, it's late in the evening, folks. I'm fumbling a few of my lines because it's late. It's actually 10 o'clock in the evening, looking at my clock right now. So yeah, probably time for me to wrap up and then retire to bed and go some good sleep real soon, ladies and gentlemen. Pick up my book, read another chapter. I'm reading House of Leaves at the moment, ladies and gents. Mark Z. Danielewski, an iconic classic horror story of the year 2000s, which I've been trying to get my hands on for a while. Yes, but I might talk about that in another episode, folks, because that's probably a good episode for another podcast-style episode. Oh, shit. This is actually bad. Okay, look, there's an access right here. Let me on. There we go. Very good. Alright, Facebook links are down below, along with the link to my propagandist channel for anyone interested. And if you enjoyed, a like is, of course, always appreciated. Whoa, God, like spikes. Why are you doing that to me all of a sudden, game? Jesus. Yeah, you know, usual outro spiel, ladies and gentlemen. You've heard it all before. Goodbye, everybody. I would have thought surely they'd have guys on these, but it's not. At least we're going around the edge. Oh wait, those ones are firing there. Okay. Yeah, I just would have thought they'd have the smaller ones in operation as well. Maybe they just don't have enough people, enough personnel. Right, oh, there's a bottle on that one. Hang on. Might want to wait for good sound. Hold on. Get that bottle. They won't have heard anything. Right. There's another guy here. Hold on, we'll get him. He's out. There's loads more of them.